Mastering darts and princess seam placement in fashion design can help you achieve perfectly fitting garments. These design elements are essential in not only achieving a wonderful fit, but also getting the shape of the pattern to conform to the body. We are going to be utilizing the fashion design book in this video to show you many different options of dart placements and princess seams. But first, I want to show you a tutorial here to visualize this process. Let's first go through what a dart is. A dart is a V-shaped wedge that is on a pattern, and it is sewn in order to create shaping on a garment. In the fitting book, which is another book that I wrote, I discussed the dart protrusion rule. And this dart protrusion rule explains that the point of a dart stops in the area on the body that protrudes or sticks out. It can also point to an area on the body that needs more movement. So if we think of areas on the body that protrude out, we would have the bust area here, and we also have the shoulder area that protrudes in order to comfortably move. And we have the backside area down here. So all of those different areas, we would have the darts pointing to those areas in order to have more fullness where the body protrudes. Other areas to consider could be darts toward the elbow or to the knees to allow for movement. I want to give you an example of a dart and why we need it in fashion. So this is a piece of woven fabric that's been pinned onto my customized moulage dress form that I made. And you can see it's just a big rectangle. We've pinned it and we've slashed along the neckline. We've pinned it toward the armhole here. And if we look at it, we have a lot of extra fabric down here. We need to eliminate that fabric to allow for shaping on this dress form. So how can we do that? We can do it in a few ways. We can move that fullness anywhere on the upper portion, but we need to pin it out. So if I pin it out in this direction, this would be like a French dart. And you can see as I'm pinning, I'm getting this wedge shape in here, this V shape. Now the V can have a slight curve to it, and that is definitely acceptable. Or we could do a dart in this location, or we could do multiple darts. So you can see if we do multiple darts, then we're distributing that amount of fullness of the fabric between different darts. Now I've put my sloper onto my dress form. This is the sloper I made with the GRD method, and I teach this in an online course. A sloper is a template or a base pattern that is used to create style patterns in pattern making and fashion. So you can think of it as a template that you start from to create any style in your mind. Now you can see that we definitely have some pointy darts here. That's because on slopers, those darts generally come all the way to the apex. But when you're making a style pattern, after you make the style lines and do all the pattern making, then we usually back that dart off so it's not directly at the apex. The apex is the high point of the bust. In this example, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 darts in the front pointing to the area that protrudes, and on a moulage we even have an additional dart here, and that is really for wrap dresses or corsets. And let's look at the back now. We also have 2 darts on the back here, plus what we call waist shaping. And with these different lines, you can see that we achieve a very nice fit in both the front and the back because those darts are pointing to the areas that protrude on the body. This is the pattern that I've used for the sloper in today's demonstration. You can see we have 1, 2, 3, and 4 darts. This is the optional dart, which is used when we're having wrap dresses and we need to make it really tight in the neckline. It can also be used for corsetry or bra making. The back of the pattern has the shoulder dart and this waist dart, as well as the waist shaping seam. Now, from this sloper and all of these darts, we can then do what's called dart manipulation, and we can close some of the darts to create design lines. I'm going to get into that further in other videos, but you should know that something like a princess seam is created from dart manipulation. A princess seam can come from two different directions. It can come from the armhole and go over the apex and down below the bust area, or it can come from the shoulder and go all the way down above the bust and continuing further. So we have those two different options for princess seams. Now I want to go into the fashion design book and show you some of the different dart and princess seam options. So in the fashion design book, you're going to see a few pages here with common locations for darts, pleats, and princess seams on bodices. So these are lots of different options, and there are even more than this. So as a designer, definitely get creative with the location of where those darts are coming from. The key thing here is that the darts should be pointing to the area that protrude on the body, which is the bust area. So we always want them pointing to that area, and then you'll get the best fit. Now, darts could also be turned into pleats. So even though we have darts here, we can also often switch them into pleats and still achieve a nice fit. Pleats tend to come from the waist area here or from the shoulder area. You'll also see in the dresses section that we have even more options for different types of darts, and those darts can always be switched into princess seams or different design lines as well. Get creative with the location of the design lines and the dart positions. Now, when it comes to pants or trousers, if you're from the UK, the back side should always have darts, or what we do is we often slash the dart shut, slash and close, to create a yoke seam. That yoke then has some shaping to it so that we don't have back gaping at the waist. That means when we sit down, it still sits nice and snug next to the body, and that's what that dart does. That's the function of the dart. You can see when we have darts in the back, the point of the dart is pointing toward the area that protrudes on the back side, which is the back area here. Point of the dart goes to the protrusion. That dart protrusion rule is explained in the fitting book, and it's shown here on pages 41 and 42. It explains why the darts are important and that dart protrusion rule. If you're enjoying this video, please give it a like and a thumbs up so that it can spread to more people. Now I want to talk about different fabrics, because based on the type of fabric you have, you may or may not use darts. Additionally to the type of fabric that's important is knowing what sort of fit you envision for that silhouette. So as you can see, darts are primarily used to add shaping, and by adding these darts, we can achieve a very tight fitting garment. If you do want to achieve a looser fitting garment, you may be able to eliminate all of the darts in the style, and this depends on what you envision for your silhouette. So let's talk about woven fabrics versus knit fabrics. A woven fabric is intertwined. If you think about like a basket and how the layers are intertwined with each other, it's the same concept with the yarns of a woven fabric. Now let's talk about a knit fabric. A knit fabric has loops. Instead of going straight back and forth and up and down, intertwining, it has loops going up and down, and those loops allow the fabric to stretch. This is an example of a knit fabric. It's been looped together to create a different knit, and it stretches. So if we imagine a knit fabric and we want to achieve a tighter fitting garment, if we wrap it over the body and stretch it over the bust area, we can achieve a tighter fitting garment without any darts. The stretch of the fabric acts as the darts. Now, there are some woven fabrics that do stretch. However, they stretch not due to the weave or the knit, but due to including elastane, which is a stretchable yarn in the fabric. Now, even if your woven has stretch in it, more than likely you're not stretching it so tight over the areas of the body that protrude, which means you still need to have those darts in there or turn those darts into design lines like princess seams. Your homework for today, I want you to draw a style using the fashion design book and draw any darts or princess seams into your style. You don't have to use the exact placement as the fashion design book, but reference it as a starting point. Would you like a free download of many of the topics we discussed in today's video? If so, click the link in the description below. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. We are just starting to talk about the details in fashion design on a more intermediate level. So if some of this stuff is not totally clicking for you, I want you to bookmark the page in the fashion design book where you scan the QR code to get to this video. Come back to it in a couple years or a couple months and re-watch it. It might sink in a little bit better once you get further along in your journey. In case you don't have the fashion design book, you can find it on Amazon and most online book retail stores. Or you can click the link in the description below. I'm Gina Renee, and I teach online pattern making and design courses so that you can design and sew clothes you love that fit. If you've enjoyed today's video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.